Hi there. Do you know that our art treasure chest today contains $1 million? Let's have a look. Well, I see a book, but the book contains impressionistic art, and that art certainly is worth a lot more than $1 million. Oh yes, I want you to look at a very, very famous painting by Vincent van Gogh, who is one of our top impressionistic painters. I want you to see, this is called Starry Night. Look at the star up here. I want you to look at the paint strokes that Mr. Van Gogh used. He felt real strongly about lights in the sky, the moon, and so forth. He uses a real strong color, and then as he starts to go away from it, he darkens the colors, but he went around in circles, kind of feeling as if it was like a target or a special point out there in space. And then look at this. This is the wind. Now, the wind you can't see, but he wanted you to feel it in his painting, so he painted it twirling and curling coming down over the landscape. And one other thing you ought to see is that there's lights and darks in there, various different colors that he used, because I guess the breeze has many feelings to it. Then we come down further. Look at this tree now. Watch it as he drew it almost as if it was growing. He just twisted it this way and to the right and to the left as it tried to reach upward and upward. Some parts are straight, then some parts curve again as they reach up in the sky, fighting the wind possibly, but getting stronger and stronger. Well, Vincent van Gogh, like I say, is one of our very, very special painters, and I've always thought that I'd like to have the boys and girls in school do a painting like Van Gogh, so you get the same feeling he has in his paintings. So that's what we'll do today, all right? I'll set my very expensive treasure back in the treasure chest, and here we go. You watch me as I do this. Watch the strokes as I work. I'm going to take the crayons that I have that are paper removed and my regular crayons. I'm going to think the things I saw in the picture. Do a little planning first. I'll take a bit of green, and here we go with a little bit of hill coming down, maybe another hill. You say you can't see it, Well, maybe that's because I'm planning kind of light. You know, I'll make it a little darker for you so you can see it too, because I'll get the line to show up later. There we go. And someplace in this area we'll put our tree. So I'll just give myself a little bit of a light line like that. And in this area, the sun. Well, instead of going with a dark crayon, let me go right with my regular colors that Van Gogh would use. Now, yellow is the color I'm using, which is very, very bright, and maybe you can't see it on your paper so well right now, but it's behind this hill. You'll see it as I keep getting further away. Watch what I'm going to do with my hand. As I keep going along, I'm going to take these curved strokes just as if I had a paintbrush in my hand. Yes, this is really like a paintbrush that never runs out of paint. Think of your crayons that way, as a painting tool. Don't be afraid to put one color right on top of the other color as you go along. What color should I choose now as I go along from yellow to red? Yes, they're called analogous colors, but they're colors that are related close to each other. All right. I think I like to throw some more yellow in that as I go up. See those curved strokes? Good, good. All right. I'd like to now work on the tree. We'll come right on over, and I've got some yellow-green here, maybe some brown. I saw different kind of colors he had in his. Here's a deeper green. Well, let's go along now. I'm thinking of how it grows, the tree, reaching up like he had it, twisting and turning to the right and to the left. All circle strokes, or half, not circle, but curved strokes, right. There we go, reaching up higher and higher. Again, do not be afraid to go and get another color, because when you look at Van Gogh's paintings up close, you see so many colors, and what he wants you to do is see his painting from a little farther away. Yes, if you stand back a little bit, you'll see the different colors come out. But get the feeling as I'm going, drawing up, that it's twisting and turning with all these curvy lines, just like something really striking out for the sky, reaching up real high. Van Gogh had a great passion for things that grow. Flowers. He has a sunflower picture that we love. He loved people, too. He painted himself a lot of times in pictures. And he tried to paint how he felt. Look at that. Some spaces in between. Now I'll put some curved lines at the bottom that represent the trunk. What if I happen to have, I'll go back with the ground, but have a house up here? Can I do that with curved lines too? Sure, let me just take and I'll curve these for the top of the house, and then maybe some straight lines across that make up the part of the house there. It's up on his hill, tipped a little bit. What else should I be putting in my pictures? What do you see him have? Yes, you saw the starry night with the air moving different ways. I'm, first of all, going to put some clouds up there. I think I'll take this blue. Here's a cloud. They're nice and puffy. See how they are curved? Those are the strokes Van Gogh would use. And look how I let it overlap, too. I come up from behind the tree. You like that? And since we've got a sunset, what's happening? Yes, some of this bright sunset is shining onto the clouds. So, right along the bottom where I see it here, I'll go and put some more yellow here. Maybe that color doesn't show up as well for you, but as I go along, I also see orange along the bottom. Oh, someone's saying something to me. I hear you. That's a good observation. Somebody just told me out there that if the sun is shining here and going up on the clouds, that certainly some of that yellow would be on the tree too. That's a good idea. Let me take and put some yellow right there. Yes, and surely some maybe on the house too. Orange, all curved lines. Thinking of this as a paintbrush as I go along. Now we maybe have some plowed fields down here. You see in some pictures that he has that. So let's see, we'll come down and here's a field with lines, and I can just take and curve the plow. These are furrows, I think, plowed furrows. And maybe something growing. You notice that I'm doing something that other artists do too. They don't only work on one part of the picture. Artists seem to work on all the picture at the same time and keep the part of the picture going. Now, I call this lesson like Van Gogh, and I've been using my point of my crayon as I did this to get all these little curvy lines. Now let's depart just a little bit from Van Gogh by using our side of our crayon a little bit. Still curved lines, but you can make bigger strokes now. Van Gogh's were short, but look how I can fill in the ground and even put another color in there. Still those nice curved strokes. All right, and here's the brown field. Turn my paper right on the side. How's that coming for you? Does that look like Van Gogh's painting? Well, I want you to look at a lot of Van Gogh's paintings and see that. And see how his strokes went. Look at the subject he painted. His room, his rocking chair, his beautiful bridge in his hometown. There, I'll fill in some more with this, some sky. And surely I can go back with more reds and violets and fill this area in here. But that's the way in which Van Gogh painted. He had a great passion for growing things, his trees, sky, but he made those short strokes and he painted, and he used his paintbrush with paint, and you use your crayons as if they were little paintbrushes. That's a real good idea. Now, just again, to go like Van Gogh, let's think in terms of how Van Gogh would paint a person, maybe a girl running, all right? Let's say that you're running, and I'm thinking of how a girl might, well, watch me as I do this. See, here's her blouse, curved lines, good. And she had another color. Van Gogh used different colors together, right? There's some black mixed with it. And here's her arm. In her other arm in front of her, she's running. Curved lines. Look at that. Yes, that's a sweater. Probably the sleeves look the same way as the rest of the sweater. Good. Let me take and I'll just on the side of the crayon, I'll make her head there. I could have used orange, but now in the same style of Van Gogh, I'll put on her brown hair. Look at that coming here. It's blowing behind her. Look at it blowing away as she's running. Same kind of feeling that Van Gogh worked with. All right, let's see. Her skirt, curve lines too. Yes. Look how it's waving out there behind her as she's running. You get all that action, all that feeling. That's what I want you to do. Get that feeling that Van Gogh had in his paintings, and then you can walk down the hall and tell some other boy and girl, I painted a picture today like Van Gogh's. Okay, she has some little socks here, and here's her other foot back here. Her leg. Yes, there we go. Paint that color in solid. Should I give her a face? Well, there's an eye. Now, what is she running to or from? You see, I can go ahead now and finish the picture with some animal in here, some trees, some background that I may want. Do a boy. You said a little doggy? Let's see. I'll just take over here. Okay. There's his nose. Curvy lines. And let me just take his leg and get that up there. And I'll mix round, curvy strokes. And let me now take, with the side of the crayon, make it go up underneath the dog, back here. See how that looks? Something more up here. Well, wasn't even that first painting we did? Starry Night. Well, maybe it's not be a star, but it might be the sun, done in the same way, with yellow and oranges and reds. We'll finish off as we thought Van Gogh would paint his picture. Curve lines, pressure. That's what they're doing. They see the sun's out and it's a happy day. That's why they're running like that. Well, we'll see you again next time when we'll look into our art chest and see what's there. I hope you like that Van Gogh. Paint like him. Hello, everybody. Guess what we've got in our art chest today? I'm hiding somebody in there. Oh, yes. It's a person, and it's called a stylized person. Stylized person meaning that he's done very simply. Notice that there's no eyes or ears, no hair, no fingers, no bow tie, no roller skates or boots, just an outline. Oh, I heard somebody out there in the classroom saying, yes, it's like your shadow. When you're walking down the street and you see the sun shining, that's where your shadow looks. It has no other parts to it. Very good. I'm glad you made that observation. What we're going to do with this is make a table mat for Thanksgiving. And we're going to use two colors of paper, brown and blue. Can you think of who might be wearing brown or blue? Maybe I'll tell you, an Indian and a pilgrim. And I'm going to draw on these two pieces of paper with a piece of charcoal right now to show you how I want them to be done in a very stylized way. We'll be using my piece of board chalk. Draw it as big as the paper. And oh yes, you want to see how big that is. About half the size here. Good. And I'm going to put one here and one here. So here we go. Remember, no details, just my head. And come down, add the arms, come back to the body, and scoot down and make the foot. Here's the shoulder. Now that's what stylizing means, making it very simply. Why did I put one arm up, one arm down? Well, you see a little later on, people use their arms to hold things, to wave at people. I could have both arms coming down, but this is more interesting, don't you think? Now I'll start to cut with my scissors. Just to get rid of that chalk mark I have on there, I'm going to cut inside the chalk mark. Oh yes, one other thing I want you to pay attention to, and that's that I'm cutting two pieces of paper out at the same time. And it's rather important over here that we hold the paper very tightly in our fingers so it won't move as we cut. Because if we get done and have two people who look very different, and, all right, we'll get the extra paper out of the way, hold it nice and tight. Whenever I'm doing this with a big lesson, I sometimes staple the paper in the spots that are empty spots, but we don't have to do that today. Another thing I'd like you to notice, I'm moving my paper around and turning my paper as I cut rather than moving my scissors. I keep cutting with my scissors. I move the paper around. Yes, stylization means very simple. And don't worry now, if you get too big shoulders or too long arms or too big a head or something like that, it'll work just fine. Now, let's see. I'll put my two people down on my paper. Looks like my Indian's on this side, and he's waving to my pilgrim. Hey, come on over for dinner. We've got a turkey cooking. Very good idea. Now, let's see. To make him the pilgrim, what does he wear on top of his head? What does the Indian wear? Because you're going to decorate these stylized people up. All right, yes, a pilgrim's hat. Let's be a little extra special here, okay? Instead of making a small pilgrim's hat, let's make a tall one. I'm putting it on top of his head, and I'll go up to the top of the paper. That hat will fall down over the top of his head, you think, right? Well, maybe he's a little boy and he's going to grow up one day and he'll be able to wear this hat. Maybe he wants to be seen. I know that when people come to your house, like Grandma and Grandpa, they're going to say, look at that hat. And you can make up some little story and use your imagination as to why he's wearing one like that. Yes, you have noticed something I've done, surely. I've turned my paper over just in case I had that chalk mark there and I don't want it to show. And my Indian. He's wearing a feather, about that size. Yes, I have paper here. You should have a lot of scrap paper like this in your room. You pick out the colors you want. Though it doesn't have to be orange, it could be yellow, whatever color you like, red. The feather is small at the bottom and gets wide. I didn't draw this like I did the hat, did I? No. See, you don't have to draw everything. If it works without having to do that, perfectly okay. So let's see. Here's my Indian's feather. One boy one time had his feather going way off the paper and his hat going way off the paper like that. And I said, "You're going to take it home that way?" And he says, "Yes." He told me later he had to cut it off because it got in the way of everything. Now let's see. I think what I'll do for just a moment, I'll decorate my feather a little bit by putting some extra lines here. They look like feather lines. You think that'll make it look better? Can you curl those a little bit? Yes, probably around your pencil or so forth. I'll try to do it the way I see your mother do this when she's doing ribbon. I'm putting it between my thumb and finger and pulling out nice and gently, and it curls out. Very good. You like that? Oh, yes, I heard someone ask over here, too, can I use my crayons on the drawing later on to decorate? Yes, you may have crayons or magic markers, but what did we say we're making today? Stylized people. And if we do stylized people, we don't want to put too many types of things on, like eyes and nose and mouth. We're going to maybe use those for further decoration. All right. There's my feather and my hat. Now, I think what I'll do is just take a moment now to glue these fellas down. Turn them over, and in gluing, just put your glue in dots. Just a few little dots, because we don't have to put a lot of glue on. I don't think I like to see the glue coming out. Do you? On your piece of paper, just little dots like this. Oh. There he is. I'm going to do something different here. I'm going to turn my Indian like that. You'll see why later on. Some idea just hit me. All right. There we Okay, there's his hat on there, and there's my Indian. Now I need to go ahead and work on some additional decorations. What else should I put on my Indian or my pilgrim? The one part I have most difficulty to explain to the boys and girls and for them to sometimes understand, so that's the part I'm going to show you first, so you can practice it if you need to get it right. The pilgrim wears a real nice white collar. So I'm going to use a piece of scrap white paper here and cut across. Just make a little rectangular shape. And when I put that for the pilgrim's collar, of course, it's now just going too far straight across his neck, and it turns a little different way. So what I'll do, take the scissors and cut, don't cut it in half, just cut part way through. That's it, part way through. All right, and now I'm going to open it up. Just bend it like that. And it stays hooked together. Ah, it really looks like a collar now, right? All right, let's put that down. Come on, glue. I'll get this out of the way here. There, looks like a real collar. What does my Indian wear? A headband. Do you mind if I have that part made already? I took a little piece of white paper, and with my crayons, you can use crayons or magic markers, you can go along and put any kind of a headband design you want to on your Indian. And let's glue it down. Right across the top of his head here. Now, just before I go any further, what I'll do is show you what these, why I got this kind of an idea. This is going to be your table mat, and the plate's going to go in silverware on the outside or inside, and I kind of thought that if I was put this knife like this by the Indian, it's so heavy that it's turning him over. All right? And he's got to hold it in both hands. For the pilgrim, he might be holding a fork like this, and we could set that there. All right, let's work on some more details, though. And these are just little details that will help decide who they are. I think probably I'll give my Indian with a torn paper technique a little bit of a cloth right there. And my pilgrim, what else does he have? Oh, a little bit of a band on his hat. Yes. Let me put a little band across the top of his hat. Could be brown. A buckle on it. Buckle shoes, I hear somebody saying. Yes? Now, I won't take the time just to hook those down, but there's a buckle, or pardon me, his belt, and there's a belt buckle on the hat. There we go. And how about his sleeves? Yes, he's wearing white cuffs and white cuffs. He wears buckles on his shoes, too. Let's do that. You see, I've cut some ahead of time. But notice, again, not a lot of detail. I'm just got a little square piece of yellow paper like this. And I really haven't used any crayons on here to color. And somebody asked about that a little while ago. What do you think? Maybe we could keep it all cut paper like this and a buckle. What else can I put on the Indian? Someone says moccasins. Yes, I have brown paper there. That might be a spot where I might want to color to get his moccasins. If I don't have, like brown goes on brown, I could use a darker color. Let's just go along and try a little bit of crayon to show you how it does look. Yes. All right. There, can we see that there? If it doesn't show brown enough, you can make it with black. But we don't have to go do anything more beyond that. Oh, I hear someone else saying something too. Yes, he might be wearing some beads. And so if you want to, you can come right around his neck and draw some beads like this. Of course, someone says too, I hear out there, he could be wearing a vest. Right. But no eyes, no ears, no fingers, any parts like that. Just my simple little stylized people, which says, making the people in a very simple way. Now let me put back the silverware. There you go. And there you go. Boy, is this going to be a lot of fun. Have a lot of fun doing it. Make 10 of them. We'll see you next time. Oh, look what we've got here. What a beautiful bird. Ah, would you like to make that probably one of the most beautiful birds in the world? Animals in the world, our birds with their beautiful feathers and their curls and so forth. And I know you're going to have a lot of fun making this lesson. I'm going to set the bird up right now on this nail and prop him over here so you can see him. There you go. Good enough? You're going to have some strips of paper at your school, cut out all kinds of colors. The teacher has cut already for you on a paper cutter. That's kind of a dangerous instrument, so teacher will cut these for you. And you're going to pick the 3 colors that you think you like the best. And here I've chosen blue, yellow, and red. What are those? Oh, I heard someone say it. Yes, primary colors. That's right, they're primary colors. You don't have to choose primary colors. You can choose any colors you want. But you're going to use 3 strips, and I'm going to put those strips together. Oh, let's set your strips down. I'm going to have you watch me make mine all the way through. I know you're anxious to go to work, but you watch me make it first. And I'm going to show you a lot of different things that I want you to pay strict attention to so it turns out real good. First of all, I'm going to be using something that maybe you don't have it each at your own desk, and that's a stapler. Now, it'd be fine if we all had one, but I can go faster and make the lesson turn out better for you on camera. If I use the stapler, teacher will have one handy in case you need it a little later on. But you're going to use your glue, paste like that. Strips together, the nose together. All right, I'll put this down, get my glue. I'm going to show you a new trick today to how to make this stick better. I'll put the glue on the nose and, oops, I better open it up. Come on, glue. You ever have that problem in school? Sure, then you got to dig down in there and get that glue cap loose. All right. Put the glue there, and as you put this top down, I'll move the red away. I want you to take your fingers and take those two pieces of paper and rub them together back and forth like this. Now, if you want to understand what I'm doing, I'll take my two hands and put my two hands together like this and rub them together. Try that for just a moment. In class, do that with me. What's happening? Yes, your hands are getting warm. So whenever I want glue to stick, I take and put the glue in between, take the paper and try and rub them back and forth together. And as I do that, it makes the glue extra warm and it sticks best. All right. Now I'll take the yellow strip, and of course you'll be using your own color. Put it there. Sometimes it helps if you just moisten your fingers a little bit as you do this and rub it back and forth. First, when you start to do it, it slides real easily, but as you go along and start to dry, it gets nice and sticky. It's hard to move. Now that end is hooked together. Now just to make sure mine stays so I can proceed with the lesson, I'm going to take my stapler and I'm going to staple it there. Some of you in class, after you let that dry, will maybe find it still came loose, and teacher will come over and she'll use a stapler for you. And now watch this next part, and this is a little tricky one, but it turns out to be the part that makes your bird so pretty. I lift the top one and push it up. There's the bird's head already. But I've got 3 strips of paper. So I'll take the next one, come on, and I'll pull on that. And you keep pulling a different, less of the blue, more of the yellow, more of the red like this. And there's my bird's head. Pretty, right? Now how am I going to do that? I'm going to put the glue there, right? So what I want to do now, just for a second, is put a little mark there and a little mark there with chalk. So I'll know where to put the glue. All right. Then I'll go back and find that spot. Put some glue. If you wish, you can spread this out with your finger a little bit and then have a little tissue where you can kind of wipe. I'll take my yellow one. You say this is hard to do? Everything sometimes is a little more difficult than something else to do. But remember what I showed you before. By taking your fingers right in this one spot, rub it back and forth together, it starts to get sticky. And I'll put some more cement down here. Now, I'm going to show you even a new trick beyond that. There's my head and my bird together. Wet my fingers a little bit. Some of you are saying, oh, Mr. Mihuta, if I let go, I know it's going to come loose. Probably true. It might happen. Now, I've asked teacher to have some snap clothespins like this. See that? And if you glued the front part, instead of having stapled, you could have put a snap clothespin there. And while you're working on some other part, your bird, as you go along, the snap clothespin helps hold it to dry. In fact, I ask a lot of my boys and girls to keep in their desk 3 or 4 snap clothespins, always handy, because you can do your lesson and have it come out right while you're doing some other part. This is drying. Good? Good idea? All right. I'm going to go a little faster now. Now that you know how to do that, let me take my stapler and staple his neck. Once again now, where I pushed up to make the head go like this. Now what I'm going to do is pull down so it makes the tummy. Here we go. Pull that top one. Oh, he's coming alive. Look at that. Rock. There you go. You ever see those birds that dip down and go and drink water like that? Now, I won't take the time to paste. I'm just going to staple now. But see, you could use your clothespins for that. Now that I've got my bird this far, here we go. I don't have to draw lines on this. We'll take the scissors and decide I'm going to make 4 or 5 cuts in the back here for the tail. Watch me now as I go along. Yes, I'm cutting through 3 pieces of paper at the same time. The tail may not be even. Notice that the blue paper is shorter than the red and so forth, because the tail feathers do not have to come out even. Some of you might find that your head's too big and your body's too small and you have hardly any tail feathers. Don't worry about that. Really don't worry about that, because you can go on, there's a lot of extra strips, and add more tail to it if you like. The tail's so long, trim some part of it off. There's my tail feathers now on my bird. Now, if you have seen Mother, I'm going to show this carefully this time, how I curl paper with my thumb and scissor. I'm going to take just one of the strips and put it inside there like this. There's the paper between my thumb and my finger. I'm not going to squeeze real tight, because if I do, I'll probably tear that off. But gently, I can pull the bird away, and the tail feather, look how it rolls up. Now, if you think that you're afraid to do that, and it may turn out to be something wrong, don't hesitate to take a piece of scrap paper and practice. Take it and pull on it. Pull it back the other way, and it'll straighten out the other way. All right? Now, in case you don't do that, and you're afraid to curl it, then what I want you to do is take a pencil. You can do 2 or 3 strips at a time, and put your pencil there and roll. Oh, got away for a moment. I know you're thinking about this right now, and you have a sister or brother, no, not a brother, sister at home, or your mother, who does this to her hair at night, so when she pulls the pencil out, she has curly hair in the morning. All right. Now the top one I'm curling like this, okay, and the bottom one I'll curl the same, but I want to go a little faster, so I'll use this technique. I know. Let's say I was pulling along and, oops, I got one that came off. Big problem? Nope. I can go back and glue it again, or I might use it someplace else. Here's these other ones coming out here. Some go down, some go up. And there's my real fancy tail. Now, as I come to the head of my bird, let me do something first. I'll cut his bill. Here's his bill. Let me see. I want to make sure you see that real good. Cut that part off. There we go. And there's his bill over here in front. You could use these pieces of papers that just came off over here. They might be glued together, but you can use those for eyes. Or if you'd want, a little later on, you could take magic marker and put his eyes there. But here I have this little strip of paper that came off that's blue, and now I could take and put that up on top. Or how about an extra piece that I have here? Right. I'll take my bird again, cut some slices. More colors, you can use those, yes. And maybe I'll put a little point there, point. And curl that. I wouldn't mind if you tried this, to get these little curls to come like that. And right on top of his head, put some glue. Rub it there, and if you want to now, remember that little technique I'm showing you. Put it there, wet your fingers just a little bit, and rub it back and forth to make it stick. And if it doesn't stick, what can you do? You bet. You want to work on another part of your bird, put the snap clothespin there and lay him down while you're doing some other part. Very good. Are you getting some ideas? I had one boy one day was working on his bird, and I saw him doing something special, and he was putting something inside here. You know what he had? He had some white, it was all filled with eggs. He put eggs on the inside. I'll put a couple eyes there. I cut a couple blue spots. And I'll pick him up and put his eye. Blue eyes. One last thing you might do, like I have on my bird here, sometimes this is all finished now. If you had a hat, you could take this, put this right up on top of your hat, and snap it there with a clothespin and go home from school like this, and walk and people say, my golly, look, there's a bird on top of that guy's hat. You could do that. Teacher sometimes will decorate the whole room by putting things up against a bulletin board. But one last thing, with your pencil, you can take a point and punch through. Don't make it too big. Punch through there and through the bottom here. Another point. And push a wire or stick or pencil up through here. And you'll have your bird standing just the way my bird is standing on the stand. Yes, I hear some of you say, you could put some eyes instead of here, you could put the eyes on the inside. Wings? Well, let's just imagine the wings being on there along the side. Are you going to have fun making our bird? Hi there. Today you see me wearing an apron. You think I might get dirty? Well, you may want to, for this lesson, put some kind of shirt on to keep whatever's in our art chest today off your clothes. My. What's in here? Well, what do you protect in school like this? Do you have something in school you protect? Yes. I'm going to unwrap it. And it's a part of the world, part of the earth. It's clay. And we need the plastic because when we have moist clay, if we leave it lay out someplace, real quickly the air will dry it out, and it's not too usable then, right? There's a way to get it wet, but let me set my plastic bag aside now. And I do want you to all have your desks covered in school with newspapers. So we'll do that. And if possible, I would like you all to have, this is a piece of wallpaper, and it has some string on the back. I like to have that because it does 2 or 3 things for us. It allows me to turn my paper around as I'm working with the clay on it. That's one thing. But sometimes when I work directly on the newspaper and I put my clay down on top, it sticks there sometimes, where on the wallpaper it seems not to do so. So teacher might have in school somewhere an old wallpaper book, and the pages can be torn out, so each of you have a little palette here to work our clay. One of the first things you have to do whenever a teacher gives you clay is decide about how big you're going to work with it, how big your hands are, what you're going to make. This is very plastic. I think I'll take part of this off right now. I think that this will be the nice size. Looks like the size of a baseball for me. Your hands, of course, a little smaller. But one thing I have to do that's very important now. This came out of a clay bin, and I feel it's nice and moist, but inside maybe some air bubbles. Now I'm going to use a technique they call in clay work wedging. Wedging is to pound the clay, and you'll hear some noise as I do it, but I'm going to pound the clay to force any air bubbles that are inside to come out. Have to do this because if I put this in the oven or the kiln a little later on, that's our oven where we bake it to make it real nice and hard. If those bubbles are there, it's like a little baby. When the baby drinks its milk, it has a little bubble. Got to get it out. Got to get it burped. So let's burp your clay. Well, wedge it. Now you watch as I do this. You pound down on it, hit it down, and keep moving to a different spot each time. Don't make it flat. just turn to a different spot, and you pound it. What happens is that the greatest amount of pressure is on the inside of the clay. And I'm hoping a bubble will pop out so I can show it to you. But oh, here comes one. Here comes one. There's a couple little spots here that seem to be bubbling up. There was one. I broke it there. It came out. You can keep watching your clay as you do that. Now, how long should you do this? You keep examining your clay. Keep turning it to a new spot. Notice again on the wallpaper here, it doesn't stick. There's another little spot where a little tiny bubble wants to come out for me. Oh. Those are important that we do get them out. Now, you boys and girls have hollow desks in school, you know, with a tabletop and so forth. With all of you doing this at the same time, your teacher will just jump out the window with all the noise. So what I like you to have you do a lot of times is rather than do it on top of your desk, take your wallpaper like this, sit on the floor, real hard cement floor, and then you pound it down there. Then it doesn't make as much noise. I think my clay is pretty good. Yep. Now we're going to make something that's called clay bowls. And we're going to use it by a technique we call pinch pots. You will watch me carefully now as I do this, all right? I'll bring up some water. And the water's going to be so I can wet my thumb and keep adding water to the clay as I go along. Because once in a while, as I'm working, my hands may be warm. And your hands really, for you first and second graders, really warm. And you seem to dry your clay out. So by dipping down into the water, we can add water to our clay. Got yourself a nice round ball like this when you work with yours, like I have mine. Now I'll take and put my thumb into the water. Here we go. Here we go. See it right down in the water like that? All right, that's going to make it slippery. So put on my clay now, push my thumb into the clay and turn it. That's away. See, like that. Now, in case it gets a little dry again, you say I can go back and dip it down in the water again, bring some more water, and I keep pushing down further and further. This lesson is done extremely well by the people who are blind or can't see real well, because now the next thing that's going to happen here, you see the hole, is that I'm going to keep measuring between my thumb and my fingers like this as I go along to check the thickness of the sides of my clay. Now watch as I go in. Go inside and I start to squeeze on the side. Squeeze and keep turning and squeeze. As I do this, the clay gets thinner and thinner, and you can see the hole is getting bigger and bigger. Very good. That's the way we do it. And I can close my eyes, and once in a while, I do like to do that with the boys and girls. Say, close your eyes and feel the clay, the earth here. And keep turning it. Sometimes, when you don't have anything else to look at, you do this, and you seem to be paying more attention to how thick the clay is. Now, you don't want to get it too thin, because if you get it too thin, it'll break. There we go. Look at the size of the hole now. Once in a while, some of you might be, as you get to this point, a little lopsided. So you could turn your clay pot over and just sort of bounce it on top of your desk like this so that you flatten your top down again, make it more even. And some of you are now ready, if you want to go and put both thumbs down into the clay. Hey, all right. Now I'll do that. So I'll put both thumbs down. See, they're inside there. And I'm using both of my hands here to check the thickness. Look, it's getting bigger and bigger. I see in here, and you can see it too, right along this wall, looks like a little tiny, there was a bubble I didn't get out. But that's one thing that happens too, is that we work on the clay like this. You'll hit the bubbles and you'll keep pushing them out. Anytime you see them, you can take a paper clip or a pencil and pop them, or just open them up. Make sure they're out of there. Here we go again, both thumbs down in. Some of you at this point too like to stand up, because maybe at your desk it's hard for you to get your hands down into the clay. So please, you feel free to stand up. And notice now, with the wallpaper I have on top, as I turn it around, the wallpaper turns and it's stuck to the clay. That allows me to go down. I just popped another bubble. See, I could have wedged it a little longer. Wedging, that's the word. I'm feeling the thickness. I love clay. And you know why, too? Indians, American Indians, Indians of Africa, or the natives of Africa, South America, probably clay is one of the oldest forms of artwork because they always had the earth. They made their pots and spoons, stirrers, things of this sort, jewelry. Now, look again at my clay, and along the top part where we've been stretching the clay the most, you will sometimes see some cracks occurring. Sometimes people like to keep that there for part of your design, but if at this point you say, oop, it's cracking too much, then I want you to take your water, dip your fingers down to the water, and stroke your clay. That's it. Get both fingers down and go right along now and stroke your clay. Feels real good and slippery. You feel real special when you're working with clay. Somehow like you're making something very important. It's responding to you. It's doing everything you want it to do. I'm down inside my clay. I'm trying to feel now how thick the bottom is and where my thumb is. So as I go down, now is a time when you can decide, set the water aside, you can decide on some shape of your bowl. If you think you want the bowl to flange out, real gently turn it and fan it out. See, I'm doing this. Okay. Now look down inside. Take a little water, and with my fingers now, just go inside there and smooth this out. And by the way, I'm using a white buff clay. I also happen to have a clay that's a red clay. Now both clays work real well. So it doesn't matter which clay your school has, so just keep that in mind. I'll just set that aside. When I've got the clay at this point, and I think I've got the shape I want, now you can talk about decorations. If you're going to use the bowl, and you're going to wash it out with soap and water, you think you want to put a decoration on the inside? Well, not so much a decoration. I'll show you. I'm going to scribe into the clay. Later on, you may want to paint inside. That's all right, but don't try and put a design in by scratching like I'm going to show you now. I'll turn my clay over, and I've got some tools, and I'll work a design. Let's see. I've got my little crayon here. So I go right around. Try and measure design so it comes out even for you. If you like that design, you can go all the way around. If you think that you've got clothespin and you'd like to take and put another kind of a design above the dots, you could do that. Look at it come along. Hey, I tell you what, if I turn it this way, it'll make little boxes. Hey, that's nice. And I have my comb, and you can get an old comb from home. Now, I wouldn't be putting all these different designs maybe on one pot, but I just want to show you. This is called texture. You can comb in one way to give that kind of feeling, or you can even come across it and make it look like X's, or we call it cross-hatching. If I turn my bowl this way, one more thing, if some of you have a top on your clay bowl and you say it's too uneven, take a paper clip and open it up. Then take your hand like this and turn your bowl and hold your paper clip real still, and it'll trim the top so the top will be even. Mine turned out to be pretty even, but maybe that's something you may want to do. And also you can use your paper clip as part of your design. Wet it. And now as we have our bowl all made, and it's the same thickness, and we've got our design, I want you to take it to your window and have some newspaper on your window. Set it there and let it dry for about 4 or 5 days. And then one last thing you may want to do, when you're all done, you're going to take it and teacher will bake it in a kiln. And then I have a little fellow down here. A little later on, maybe we'll have some enamel with clay. But you can paint that with tempera paint mixed with polymer or with Elmer's glue. Or you can bring in some paint from home that your dad has for the house, some enamel paint, water paint, and decorate up your animal any way you like to. We'll see you. Have a lot of fun with your clay, and we'll see what's in the bowl next time. Not in the bowl. Oh, look at this. There's a gift in here, and I don't think I've ever seen any wrapping paper that looked exactly like that. Looks very different, and something's rattling. I wonder if it's a gift for me. Isn't that nice? Somebody, I believe, made some homemade wrapping paper. And I'll take the tape off and see what's on the inside. It's so, whoop, listen to the noise. It's so nice when you boys and girls in school make a gift of clay or any art gift. You like the rattling, don't you? Well, look at this beautiful wrapping paper, though. Someone must know that I like airplanes. Yes, I do. But that doesn't sound like an airplane on the inside. Let's have a look. Oh, colored chalk. We'll use that later on for another lesson. But talking about wrapping paper, though, we're going to be doing that today, and should you ever make a gift in school for your mother, father, or grandmother, it's homemade, I know, and it's very, very special. You can always go to the store and buy something out of some money that you might have, but boy, I am always happy when I receive from my children something they really made with their own hands and work real hard on. And then they put it in a box and wrap it up with their own wrapping paper. That gives me an extra special feeling. I hope that you'll keep that in mind. And when you make something, make the wrapping paper too. So let's go along now, and I want to show you some ways how to do this, all right? I'm going to be using a thin paper. I want to use thin paper because it'll give me what we call texture. It'll allow things to come through. If your paper's too thick as you work, it just won't show up as well. You'll see as I go along. Let's see, I'll use some flat crayons. Since I'm feeling the top of my desk, there is a wood texture through here. I'm going to take my crayons and go across the paper, press very heavily. Look at that, and the texture comes through. That's the way the wood looks on top of my desk. That would be a real nice thing to do if you're giving your dad some sort of present that had wood, wood-making tools or making toys or something like that out of wood. And here would be that nice wrapping paper. Don't hesitate to change colors. That might be real fine. For all you folks, too, as you do this, don't be afraid if you can't push down strong enough. You stand up where you can press real heavy. All right. Can you see the designs coming through? Someone said, should I go the other way? All right, let's try that. Maybe I'll just go right across my paper and try another color so it comes this way. Wow. And I'm doing that. I'm skipping spaces so it makes sort of a plaid design. All right. This is one type of wrapping paper you boys and girls could make, and it would be real fine. Let me now take another sheet of paper, and this time I'm going to put newspaper under so that I get rid of that texture that's on the desk. Now on this one, I will just go ahead and, there's one I like, scribble design. You could take two colors in your hand. Here I've got yellow and red. Take the two crayons and start to go on your piece of paper and scribble and scribble. I keep getting and keep working to the other parts. I could go and take all that time to do it, but let me just change over to some other spot. Let's pretend that I've done this. Well, I'll turn it right over. Let me make some designs that have what we call direction to them. I'll say I'll start at this far corner of the paper and aim toward the other side. Notice the big flow with your arm. Skip a space. Ooh, boy. This lets you use your big arm muscle as you go along. Look at the nice design that's coming there. Can you put another color in between? Sure you can. Oh, I like that. Let's put another color in between. Or shall I start maybe at this other corner? Let me try this. Start the other corner. Use your imagination on this. If somebody were to get wrapping paper like this, what would you think think's on the inside? Looks like a black hole in space or something. Now you can go back and color in some of the spots if you like. Work your design that way. Yes. While I have this other side of the paper, we were talking a little bit ago what plaid is. You know what plaid is? Plaid is a square type of design. Let me just take and pretend that I'm just going to practice it over here just so you can see. I want to show you a special way to do that so it'll work up real nice. I could come across my paper with a line like this. Oh, some of the texture is still coming through from the desk. But I can come right across my paper that way and hold it flat. But watch now, I'm going to put my finger heavier on one side, on one end of it. And as I push, it'll turn out to be much darker. Hold on to the paper so it won't slip for you. All right. Looks like bamboo, somebody said. Maybe so. Here I go, pressing heavier on one side. Okay. Very good. Now, when you make the plaid go the other way, I'll just turn this section of the paper for you now. You can either go right across it, or watch what I'll do here. I'll pick a dark crayon so you can see this. I can come along and make a line and hit here and stop. Come through the other side and stop and keep going. Then you have shapes over here that overlap each other. See that? One more. And now I'm going to stop with this, but I'm going to show you one more little thing that I'll grab my orange crayon and with thin lines, one more time, up to it, and stop. Can you see that? I think I'll choose red, so it's a little darker. Pull up to the blue and stop. To the blue and stop, and keep going. Pull to the blue and stop, and keep going. Now, if you look at that piece of paper now, the red looks like it's the farthest away, then the blue is next, and the brown's on top, and my wrapping paper not only has sort of a plaid look to it, but it looks three-dimensional. Looks like it's piled up on top of one another. All right. So that's my wrapping paper, too. Can you think of other ways to do it? Well, I got that texture. Let me show you one that I like to use, too. Here's a case where I have all kinds of strips of paper. These could be like dots or squares of paper as well. I'm putting it on my desk like this. Can you imagine what's going to come out? Let's lay that all on top. And now I'll take a crayon color and I'll go right on top, back and forth. Hold on to it good and tight, but all those strips are like levels, and they should pop out for me. See, the last time I made the stripes, I had control of them as to which way they're going. On this one now, I just move it to a new section, grab another color, and look how the design comes out. Now, last of all, I'll put you strips aside. If, like on the airplane, you would like to take and do a picture so that you can see it reoccurring over and over again, I'll take this piece of brown paper. Let me take and fold it. It doesn't have to be folded even now. I'll fold it into 4 parts. And what shall I draw? Oh, my son just got a new Volkswagen. He's so happy about it. So, here we go. I think I'll take and do a Volkswagen. And I'll take and cut out one window, like this. I want to buy him some spare parts for his car. He wants to do something special to it. So if I take and get this little car, some of you are going to find that cutting through 4 pieces of paper might be a little tough, but you can do it. If you can't, make only 2, then make it a second time. That's fair. Since I want to go a little bit faster, you see, I'm doing it this way. Now, punching through this section of the paper, this is the part that I want you to see. Put the point of your scissors down and let it lift up on it so it'll tear through, because that would be hard to punch through. All right. Now, I'm using construction paper because it's thicker, and it'll make my design come out better. Now, do you know what all-over design is? All-over design means this car is going to appear all over the paper, just like when I worked before, the airplanes. You saw the airplanes? They had sort of a direction. This time, I'm going to take the Volkswagen and put it going in all kinds of directions. There they are. Put the wrapping paper on top, and his Volkswagen happened to be yellow, but I'm going to choose a color that'll show up better, but here I go now. Let's see. I'll change colors different places on the paper, but watch now as I go along. Press heavily with your crayon. Can you see the Volkswagens coming out? Maybe I ought to get darker crayons. That could be flowers. If your mother likes flowers, you could have flowers on the back side there. If your sister likes a little doll, you can make a little doll. Look how the little cars are popping right out for me on the paper. If I now wish to go to another spot, just move that around or move my paper. And let's see. Let me take again a color here. Oops. Now as I go across, one Volkswagen is appearing right through another one. So it's blue and brown as I go along. And since the cars are going in different directions, we call that all-over design. And it doesn't matter then, when you wrap your gift, whether there's a top side or a bottom side to your drawing. There we go. Real heavy. Stand up if you have to, remember that. And you'll get your design coming through. Now, I think that's very special for my son, and I'm sure that he's going to enjoy the fact that I took the time to make the wrapping paper for the gift. He wants a ooga horn on his car, and that's what I could possibly wrap with this. I know you're going to have fun making your own wrapping paper. Look at designs and go from there. We'll see you again next time. We'll see what's in the art chest. season's greetings to you. Let's have a look what's in the art chest. Something to go along with the holidays, I'll bet. Ah, yes, it's a Santa Claus. And notice over here that's also a Santa Claus made out of a Christmas tree. Now, isn't that some idea? But notice also that it's orange in this case, and it's not red or green like a regular Santa Claus might be. Well, that allows us over here to choose any colors we want to as we make our Santa Claus. And by the way, who is Santa Claus? Well, he's the spirit of giving. Yes, just wonderful during these holiday seasons. And while we're talking about seasons here, we have two great holidays that come up. Yes, Christmas and Hanukkah. So let's do our Santa Claus Christmas tree today, and you boys and girls will be choosing any particular color you want to as you go along for our lesson. I do want you, though, while I go through, the lesson today, to watch me very carefully because you're not going to work with me. Take little mental notes and so forth because it's a long lesson and I need to have your attention. I'm going to choose a piece of blue paper for my Santa Claus, blue coat. Watch me now as I fold my paper in half. I want to make it nice and even. Get the tops nice and even there. And then come right down and crush your paper so we have it in half. Yes, it's kind of like a symmetry type of thing. Christmas tree looks the same on one side as it does on the other. And so does Santa Claus, really. So let's take, you watch me now, thinking of the tree starting at the top, coming way down to the bottom with the points that grow on a pine tree. Swing your arm. Don't be afraid to get those points out there real nice and big. You can put a couple little extra ones like this. Now notice I've used all my paper from the very, very top down to the very edge. And as I come back, of course this Christmas tree would be setting into a pot if it were just a Christmas tree, but we said Santa Claus. So watch now, I'll make him a pair of boots. Down and big toes. Right. And I'll separate that. Looks like a number 5. Yes, it does. There's number 5. And I'll separate his boots a little bit with a line like this. All right. Let me go ahead and cut. By the way, as you see this part of the paper, please save that because we're going to make arms out of that. In case the points don't come out far enough, we'll make arms out of this section. So let me work on cutting this out. And once again, I'll cut on the inside of the chalk line. Always a good idea once you have drawn with chalk. If you wish to get rid of all those chalk marks, cut on the inside of the chalk mark, and we'll get rid of those. However, if that does not happen for you, we'll use the other side where there's no chalk marks at all when we get it cut out. Scissors straight, and I turn my paper as I cut. Don't be afraid to cut those off. One other thing that's rather important now, in cutting sometimes, it's tough for some of you boys and girls to really get in there and turn that scissor around, so why not do this? Start on the outside and cut towards the center. Better idea. Up to the point, and here we go, to the point, and let that drop off. We'll just set these aside. What's a happy Christmas song? Oh, Christmas tree, how lovely are your branches. Ya-da-dum-ba-dum, da-dum-da-dum, ya-da-da-dum, bum, bum, bum. Yeah, I heard someone say they've seen a blue Christmas tree. Yes, blue spruce. Well, green, beautiful colors. You notice how beautiful these branches come on down. It's a form of symmetry we have. And how interesting to see a Christmas tree with Santa Claus boots on the bottom. Isn't that lovely? And blue, too, you see. We can use any color you want to. Now I'm going to start to put on all the white parts. And where does Santa Claus have all that fur? Top of his head, top of his hat, mustache, eyebrows, yes, where else? Beard. On his cuffs, the bottom of his coat. Good. This is going to be a tear paper now, and I want the biggest one to come across the bottom. So take yourself some scrap paper white, look across the bottom of your tree, and then with your fingers start to tear away. Should you have some difficulty because the paper's too big, remember you can always put your Finger down and hold it like a ruler and pull. There we go. All right. And that goes right across the bottom of Santa Claus's coat. These do not have to be real even. They can be kind of rough looking. There we go. And let's see now. Santa Claus's eyebrows. Small little curve lines, right? Someplace up there. And don't be afraid if they look too big or too fuzzy. You're making a real nice Santa Claus. The mustache is the part I'll make now by folding the paper in half. You could draw it if you want to, as long as you turn your piece upside down. But I want to show you, I'm going to try and tear the mustache while the paper is folded. Oh, let's see, I got a little too much paper in my way. I'll take that out of the way. There, now I'll open it up. Come on, Santa Claus, I'll go ahead and get your mustache there. Good. See that? And if that's difficult for you to do, as I just showed you, then do it this way. Take a light crayon, or I'll use a dark one so you can see it better. His chin, draw it, if you'd like, and then you tear it out. As you do this, then, remember, I do not want those crayon marks to show, because someone will say Santa Claus has got a dirty beard. He'll get that dirty enough when he comes down the old chimney. Now we'd like that little spot for his mouth. And one other thing I'm going to do, because I want the beard to be fuzzy, tear some extra slices in here, and you crumble them up a little bit. There we go. Crinkle it up a little bit. Let his beard be kind of fancy there. All right. Under his mustache, you say? All right. There we go. Now, what other spots do I need? Oh, we talked about the arms. Now, should some of you boys and girls have made these branches where they come out real far, you could use them for arms. But some of you have made Santa Clauses real wide, some of you have made them real skinny, and Santa Clauses come in all kind of different sizes and shapes. You know that, because you've seen them standing on the corners at times, haven't you? All right. What I will do is take the two pieces of paper, remember, when I cut off this section, I'll take these two sections of paper, and with my white chalk, I am going to draw a couple long arms. I'm drawing only one, right. That's true. Here's his glove and his thumb. And then at the same time, you take and cut that right out again. And this time I really want you to cut inside the chalk marks as much as you can, because Santa Claus's arms are going to be mobile. We can make it go in different types of directions, cross in front of him or behind his back. And by doing this, we want that white chalk mark off. There we go. And I'll lift those two arms up, which, let's see, if I hold my hands out, my thumbs kind of hang up, go up in the air. Let's do that. Get my glue, and let me glue that down right away. A little lower, you say. Well, let's put it there. A little bit of glue. And slip that up underneath. And you press on it. Oop, I've got a little glue that come out there. Let's try it and see if we can prevent from any glue coming out too much. There we are. Now we'll let those dry a bit. If I have a spot where glue's come out, you take your finger and wipe it off and then see if you could take and push that glue spot up underneath so it doesn't show so much. There we go. While that's drying, Santa Claus has some white cuffs. So I'll tear those there. And should he turn his arm so it comes around like this, there's no white on the other side. So it's a real good idea to take and put the cuffs on both sides of his arm. So once again, little paste or glue. Are you thinking some other decorations you may want to put on him? Oh, I forgot to even glue those down, didn't I? Here we go. You're thinking about the belt, right? Yes, he needs a belt. Buttons if you wish to. Eyes. Well, you know, old Santa Claus, he's got kind of squinty eyes. And you'll put those on a little later on. You can put that on with a crayon or a magic marker. There we go. Right underneath there. All right. Santa Claus belt. Fine, I have a piece of black paper here. Cut that there. A buckle, you betcha. We'll take and get some yellow paper and give him a nice buckle. Square piece of paper will do. Don't be afraid to make it nice and big. Oh, you want a hole in the middle. All right. Yes, we'll make it so the belt shows through. Fold it over. Cut a slot out. Little tiny square piece there. And then when you open up the buckle, it'll go here. Fine. Now there's some parts over here I need to glue down. After you have Santa Claus's eyebrows glued down and mustache glued down and beard, I'll take over. You can go back with crayon or with your magic marker to give Santa Claus his eye. I have kind of like a little eyebrow there. Can you see that all right? And his nose, whoop, yes, what should I do there? A piece of red paper and hook it right there so he's got a nose like a cherry. That's what the poem says, doesn't it? All right there. That needs to be glued down. As I look at his boots, they're blue like the rest of him. Would you like to leave them that way? You can if you want to. You could take and color his sole so the sole is black, if you like. Want to have a shiny spot on his boot? Put a shiny spot on. Well, then last of all, you can take and hang a little sign down here saying Happy Holidays. This will go on the front door of your house. When people come, they'll say, gee, they're welcoming to the house with, isn't that interesting, a Santa Claus Christmas tree. I think you're going to have so much fun doing this. Don't be afraid if you change it around in different ways. People are going to enjoy this very, very much. I'm going to keep working on the spots. Come back, we'll see what's in the treasure chest again next time. Our art chest, right. Hi there. Let's have a look in our art chest. Something special. Oh, look at this beautiful house. Is it your house or is it my house or whose house? Look at the shingles on the roof. And so the rain will fall off here, a slant. And here's our chimney. Oh, look at bushes in the front. Let's open up the window here. Oh, there's a man. His feet are out there. It looks like he's snoring. Oh. And let's close the shutters there. Let's go to the door. Looks like steps going up. Oh, that's a telephone. Hey, it looks like if I open this all the way up, man, look what's going on in this house. And that's the title of our lesson. When we did this with the boys and girls in school, one boy did this drawing, and he says, "My house is for the birds." What will your house be like when we draw yours? I know you're going to have a lot of fun doing it. All of you are going to go through the steps with me as we plan the house, and we'll stop while I try and decorate my house a little bit. And then you boys and girls will put your pictures all the way around the room, put house numbers on them so they come in sequential order. Sequential, big word. But we'll have those all around the room. And then we'll invite people to come in and see your house. Billy, they'll say, "What's in your house?" And then they'll try and guess. And when they can't guess, they'll raise up the picture and have a look. And you can be funny or serious. We'll have fun doing that. Let's all take our piece of paper, our manila paper that has been given to us, and we want to fold it in half nice and even. Get those two top edges even. Put our hands on top, come right down and crush the paper. All right. Now, watch this next fold. This next fold is somehow a reverse. We don't just fold it this way. We kind of go toward the center. So I'll move my paper here. Take the bottom part of your paper and fold it up to the middle and crease. That's it. You're doing it right. You're pressing down, pressing this way. Turn it around. And now let's go from the bottom again to the middle. Good. You've got it there. Come right down and crush it. And there we go. By golly, it almost looks like a house already when I start to turn it this way, doesn't it? Roof and so forth. Now we want to start to draw the slant of the roof. We have this line that says this is the roof line. Here's our bottom. All right. I'm going to use a pink crayon. You could use a real light pencil if you like. Something that you don't mark too dark, all right? Just so you can see. But I want to go a little heavier for you boys and girls so you can see what I'm doing. Start at the roof line and think of the roof. Here we go. And draw right up to the top. You can see that all right. Now as we do it on this side, try and make your roof look about the same angle. That gives your house some symmetry or makes it look like it won't be lopsided. Okay, I think that's about it. Good. Oops, just popped my crayon in half. Now, from your roof to the top, draw your chimney. Doing this with me? All right. Right from here to the top, decide how wide you want your chimney to be. Some people, yes, you could put your chimney right at the very edge of your house because you may have a fireplace inside. That's true. And your roof is slanty, so your chimney is going to be slanty at the bottom, but you go right straight up. Good. That's good. Hold your pictures up so I can see them. Show them to me. Okay, you're doing real good. Real fine, real fine. Let's take our scissors now. And maybe you ought to all stop for just a moment and watch me do this. Yes, put your scissors down and you watch me first do the cutting. I'll go from here to the top. Cut this part off. Good. Now, once in a while, you forget, and I want you not to. Sometime when boys and girls start to cut up here, they cut their chimney off. Don't worry if you do that because you can glue it back on, but watch the way it's done properly. Cut up to the chimney and stop, then turn and go right from here to the top of your paper. That's the way we're going to do it. Now you wait and don't do yours now, just so you understand. You'll do yours later. There we go. Now I'd like to hold it up and show you the house. I have another part that I'd like to show you that's something special. You may or may not do this, but I still want to show you how it's done. Houses have what we call an overhang, where the roof comes down and the rain drops off with the rain, with the rain trough, and so the house is back underneath the roof a little bit. If you want to, you can try this a little later on. Watch as I do it. I'll raise the paper up, and with my fingers, I'll try and tuck it like this. I'm lifting it up, and turn it around so you can see that little raised section. Good. Now, by raising that up a little bit, I now will take and push it over and fold it, and that will give my house a little bit of an overhang. See the shadow that's been created? Now, if you don't do it, boys and girls, it's not a bad thing. You need to try it, but if it doesn't work, don't worry about it, all right? I'll do that on the back side of the house one more time so you can see. Pick the house up. The roof is pointing toward me. Fold it over and crease it. And then when I lift it up, my house has that little tiny overhang. All right. Now the next thing I will do, if I crush this down, I'm going to be doing some coloring. I can always go back and make that refold. What do I need now? Place to get into the house. Of course I do. So turn the house around. You can put your doorway anywhere you want to have it, in the center with 2 windows on each side. You do it the way you'd like to do. Don't do it now. You watch me first. Up with the door, and we'll come across. Now, although I can draw the line here, I certainly wouldn't want you to cut it there. But so if I come along, I can make a little light line if I want to. All right. Now my window, make your window about even with your door. I'll make that nice and big. It's a big picture window, so I can peek inside the house. Now, if I'm going to make this a shutter, there are about 3 or 4 different ways you can do this, and you can practice. You watch me as I say this now. If I cut here, here, and here, and raise that up, that will become an awning. Thinking along with me? Let's say I do this. Let's say I make the whole window and draw a line right down through the middle, and then when I cut it, I cut across the top and bottom and the center, and take it and lift it out this way. Yes, you're guessing with me. I'm making shutters to the house. And one girl did something one day that was real pretty, a little difficult, but she took and cut across the top and bottom and rolled it and made a flower box. All kind of ways. I want you to see the way I'm doing it here, though. Down, across, and here we go. Now, when I cut along the line now, up to the top of the door, over, and stop. And now I'll take and fold the door open so you can see inside my house. Aha, something's going to be going on in there in a little while. You bet. Now comes the window. Since I'm in the center of the paper and I want to cut this window out, watch what I'll do here carefully now. You cannot cut in from the edge and so forth. You have to punch a little hole. Now, you may or may not have a pair of sharp scissors. Once in a while, I find you boys and girls have round-pointed scissors. Do this for me then. Take your pencil and put it there and lift up so you punch a little hole, then get your scissor in there. All right. There is my awning. I'll raise it up and bend it back a little bit so there's a part in the front. There we go. Can you see that now? My door and my house like that. Now I'm going to bring a piece of newspaper onto my desk here to act as a little bit of a padding. If your desk is rough, I'm going to use the side flat crayon. And if your desk is rough and when you go along, you might get to what we call texture coming through. So let me go along, and you can, with the side of your crayon, go along like this. It puts shingles on your house. I won't do the whole house. I'll just do parts. You see how I'm doing that? Right. That's the way we look. And then if I want to do a chimney, I can color it with the side crayon again and go back and make lines that make a brick. And put the little brick lines like this. You can color the awning. Yes. You can put paper here. Put stripes in your awning. What color is your house? Your house is blue. Take the side of your crayon. It's nice to have a little piece of crayon because you can go along over here. As you go clear across your picture, it'll look like boards on the side of the house. Skip a space. And keep going there. Can you see that all right? And down in front of the house, some shrubs. Yes, you can put that there. A doorknob. Color your door a little bit different. Now we come to the inside of the house. And I'll open this up. And now I have the first floor. Watch me now as I decide some things I'm going to put in my house. What's on TV tonight, Ma? Here's a big easy chair. Somebody's watching TV. A picture on the wall of Grandpa Jones. And steps going upstairs. Yes, 1, 2, 3. Make your steps. Now, your house doesn't have to look like this, remember. Watch, I'll make a railing come down. And around. Then it has posts that hold those up. And a bedroom upstairs with a bed. And it's a double bunker bed, and your brother lives there. He sleeps on top. You sleep on the bottom. And what else do you have? All right, yes, you may have your dresser. And you keep your clothes all in your dresser drawers properly. If you don't, you might want to have some of your clothes hanging out. You may put your model airplane. Oh, yes, a lamp from the ceiling. And you can have model airplanes hanging on that. And all the activities that go on in your house, I would like you to include. Yes, you want to tell everybody what's going on. Sliding down a banister, talking to Papa, he's reading the paper. You know, you can put a kitchen, yes, you can take and put a kitchen on this side of the house, right? Let's see, here's this fellow up here. Oh, even though I'm using one crayon, there's his foot up there, his arms hanging over the side. Let's see, my other buddy is over here, and he's reaching up on top of his place to get his model airplane. There's the airplane that he built. Yep. Here's Susie Q, and she's sliding down the banister. There's the legs come over this way and this way. I know you're just going to have so much fun making different things that go on at your house. Hang them up, let everybody guess, color them real pretty. I know you're going to have a great deal of fun doing this lesson. So on, we'll see you again next time. We'll see what's in the art chest.
Happy Holidays from Kid TV on VIZ.
Hi there, and real glad to have you back again. I'm wondering what's in our art treasure chest today. Some great treasures? Probably diamonds and rubies. Oh, really? Well, looks like a whole bunch of scrap materials here. Some spools. Are these treasures? A block of wood and an eraser and a sponge and Papa's tee for golfing? Well, they are treasures. Many times you have items like this, and after you're done using them, you throw them away. But I hope that you have in school and at home just an old box that's your kind of treasure box full of scrap materials. I don't know how many times I've done projects where I've gone down and looked in that box and found something to work with. That's what you're going to be doing, and I hope you save some scrap materials like that for yourself. Have those in school. I'll pick out my paper color I like. Here we go. Good. Now, how do I apply the paint to my scrap items? All right, you're right, probably. A brush. I've got some paper here. I'll cover my desk. We want to watch so that we don't have any extra cleanup to do later. And I've got different brushes in my drawer. Good, we'll put the paint on with that. Good. All right, let me pick out a block or something to start printing with. Here's my piece of wood. Got a little line in there. That should print rather interesting. Lines, here we go. I'll get down into the paint and stir it up. Do you think the paint should be thin or thick? Well, I have to find that out, don't I? But probably, well, let's try. That's what all people do when they're experimenting. They try, and here we go. All right across the paper. Oh, I'm starting to run out. Let me go back, get some more. Yes, you'll be doing this lesson after I'm all done today. You watch me as I go through the steps. Good. Even though that's square, you see I turned it sideways. Forms like a triangle. You know what I'm doing, really, as far as a real fancy word in art? I'm repeating my design. And in all designs like this, we have a repetition. If something gets too light, you can go back and put another color a little bit heavier on it. But a lot of artists like to see that particular print change from light to dark. Good. Now what I'll do is go back and go hunting again. I see a dandy. Here's a little cork. And let's try some colors here. And I'll go right in between, I think. There, pa-dump, and pa-dump. And I'm out of paint, so I'll go back and add some more. Somebody is saying over here that probably you ought to have a stamp pad. Do you have a stamp pad at home? Yeah, sometime if you do have a stamp pad at home, you could pick some scrap materials like this and try. Oh, I think I ought to put a couple here. Notice I'm repeating my design. I talked about repetition, repeating. I'm putting my design on top, also going along and putting my design on the bottom. Whenever you listen to songs, you know how they go? Bum, ba-dum, 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 ba-dum. That's kind of what's happening with the design here. I almost feel like I'm a dancer, sort of dancing back and forth across my paper. All right. Now, help me think this out for a moment. If I happen to have to put paint on my work each time, my little piece of scrap material, may take a long time. Let's see if we can't devise or invent a new technique. And I'll do that now. Let me move my paint backwards, and I'll set some paper towels down. And these paper towels will absorb water. And let's see, I want to get those wet. Now you could go to the sink and get these all wet in the sink first of all by putting it underneath the faucet and get it wet and then bring it back to your seat. That's a good way, but I don't have a sink here right now, so I'll take my water bottle and I'm going to soak this up. Why? I don't want my paint to dry out. And these are paper towels, right? And when you dry your hands, they absorb the water. So I'm making a stamp pad, right, just like you decided I ought to do. It's soaking in. I can see it all going. All right. Now let me put some paint on top of that and see if this works. All right. Bring over my colors. Yellow. All right, there's some colors I've got. And I'll set my tubes aside, and maybe I ought to try and spread those colors out. Maybe I'll do that just with the printing material I've got. Let's see, what shall I pick up now? Another round item? Hey, I've got a sponge. Let's try that. And I think I'll switch to white. My sponge, by the way, is damp, so it'll pick up. And I want to look to see if there's holes there. Yep, they show up real good. See, I'll repeat that same design the square had. Oh, I notice now, too, not only am I using a stamp pad, but because my sponge is a different material, it's wet. In the block of wood, I couldn't get wet, but the sponge now holds the water better. This is an all-over design. I'm starting from the middle and going up and going down so that my pattern, yes, it does look like wallpaper, doesn't it? If I turn it upside, turn it this way so it runs up and down, it'll look like wallpaper in your room. Someone else said an Indian headband. Surely, isn't that pretty? That would be a real pretty right across an Indian's head. Now, let's see. I've gone round, circle. Let's see what else I can do. I've got an eraser. Let's see, yellow. Let's see what I can do here. Golly, I like this. How about you? You really can enjoy this lesson. You're making it up moment for moment as you go along. You're the boss man in doing a design. Let's see, that went that way. I think I'll follow that same design. You hear me talking to myself? Now, of course, we couldn't do that in your classroom where everybody's talking, but that's what people do when they're designing. They're thinking and they're talking to themselves. I think I'd like this to go along and repeat. Bump, 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 bump. This kind of gives a direction to it. Looks like there's an arrow there, doesn't it? All right, I've gone out orange, blue, white, yellow. I don't want to use any more colors. Probably even use one too many. I think what I do is go and repeat my design somewhere again with that blue. And I don't have blue out there, so let me get some blue. Hey, I know. Why don't I put the blue right on top of the white? That might be an idea. Those two colors might mix up and make a new block print. Let's see, we'll put it right at the end of that. Ooh, and it's got a hole in it. That's additionally nice. And I'm twisting as I'm putting it on to help the paint come off. You'll have all kind of designs in your head. No one could tell you whether it's right or wrong as far as your design goes because you're using your own imagination. And this isn't a picture in that sense, but as a young man told me, designs look real pretty. And we have these lines going like that. Is that pretty good for us? All right. I like that too. Let me take and try one more, all right? You're getting some ideas. Those designs were in a line. Now let me take and start another one over here by, let's see, I want to get that blue to be a little lighter, so I'm putting some extra white in there. Oh, start with a blue dot in the middle. Twist it. Good. Now let's see. Use my eraser. Let me take and do that. Looks like a beautiful flower, doesn't it? Okay. A red dot on the ends of those. The design will get bigger and bigger as I go along. I'm making up my mind as I move along what it should look like. And once again, if I get some white, I've got red on that, let me mix a little white and red. A little more white. Ah, we've gone from red to pink. You can mix colors like that. I know you're just going to have so much fun scrap printing. Save all those different things you have in the house. and watch how you can use them in a lesson. I've got a snap clothespin. Let's see. I'll go back and get some of this yellow and make this spin. Yeah, here we go. We'll make it spin. Like something on 4th of July. I think what I'll do is just turn my papers too. Wow, looks like a 4th of July celebration with all the design here. And you'll find so many interesting shapes and materials around your house. You bring them to school and look at the fun lesson you can have. This could be the cover of a book jacket or something too. Going to go back one more time and repeat a design inside here. Okay. I want a little more white with that so it shows up real good. Exciting? You betcha. Okay. This might be a real good design for the boys group. Let me say the boys group because Indian guides. This could be, we can cut that out and that could be on a shield or some sort. What would I do with the extra part of paper I have left? Well, that's a decision you can make. You can take and cut this paper around now and throw away the extra part, or let your design keep building out as if you're running out of room. All kind of ways. I hope that you will have a lot of fun doing scrap printing, right? We'll see you next time and see what's in the art chest.